In order to understand how 12b1 fee impacts us in a negative way, first off, we would define what 12b1 fee is. A 12b1 fee is an annual marketing or distribution fee on mutual fund. The 12b1 fee is an operational expense and is included in a fund's expense ratio. It is generally less than 1% of a fund's net assets. There are generally two kinds of expenses covered by 12b1 fees: distribution expenses and shareholder service expenses. Distribution expenses are the cost of marketing and selling fund shares. Shareholder service expenses are the cost of employing people to respond to investor queries. It is important to note that 12b1 fees do not always cover shareholder service expenses. Some funds pay these expenses directly out of their fund's assets. Let's say an investor is 30 years old and he contributes $4,000 a year, with a yearly return of 6%. With all in asset-based fees, including the 12b1 fee totaling 1.9%, he will have $291,000 by the time he hits 65. By switching to a plan with fees that total a much more reasonable amount, say 0.6%, he would have $390,000 in his account by age 65. That's a potential difference of almost $100,000. Certainly, something worth considering. New investors should be curious about what high 12b1 fees could cost them over their investing lifetime. It is important to note that 12b1 fees are not part of the fee structure that determines whether a fund is classified as a no-load fund or a load fund. The NASD permits a mutual fund to call itself a no-load fund if the combined amount of the fund's 12b1 fees and separate shareholder service fees is less than 0.25% of the fund's average annual net assets. This makes reading the prospectus even more important. In some cases, investors may get better returns from a load fund if a similar no-load fund's 12b1 fees are significantly higher. Incorporating 12b1 fees results in lower profits because your expense ratios are higher. Now, this wouldn't be an issue if 12b1 fees could somehow enhance performance, justifying added expense with added returns. But that's not the case. Often, 12b1 expenses cut into performance. 12b1 fees are charged because marketing a mutual fund could increase its asset size, which would lower costs by spreading them out among more investors. A recent study by the SEC Securities and Exchange Commission found that while 12b1 fees helped attract more new assets to a fund, the shareholders of the fund didn't see the benefit. The theory was that the increase in assets should bring shareholders less volatility and expense through economies of scale. But what often happened instead was that shareholders paid more to grow the fund, while the fund company or advisor were the ones that benefited from the increase in assets. There's virtually no transparency involved with 12b1 fees. Theoretically, all that information should be laid out in each fund's prospectus. Because of how 12b1 fees work, it's not immediately clear how much you are paying your advisor. Evaluating whether your financial advisor is worth the fee is next to impossible without knowing how much this fee actually is. 12b1 fees are charged to each participant as a percentage of their assets. Because each participant contribute different amount, 12b1 fees can often be distributed unevenly among participants. One of the biggest problems with 12b1 fees is the built-in conflict of interest. Investors who avoid funds with 12b1 fees often argue that advertising distracts management and is ineffective because it does not directly increase the fund's returns. They also believe that the funds collect 12b1 fees no matter how well it performs. If you think this video helped you in understanding 12b1 fee, make sure to like and share this video.